Today I just wanted to talk about Uber and the price changes or that pay cut that happened pretty recently. I've been still working Uber full time ever since that last video I made, which was a while back, probably about, I don't know, almost a year now. I know there's a lot of people that are just kind of wondering if this really ruined Uber or if this really ruined just making money in general on Uber Eats, which this is primary all I do. I don't drive people, so I don't ever pick up passengers. I only do Uber Eats. So with this pay cut, what happened is when I've noticed it the instant that it went into play, because some of the far deliveries that I used to do, which is something that I really like to do, because not only is it enjoyable for me to just be driving, but at the same time, it used to make a lot of money. So let's say if I drive like 15 miles, you can pretty much count on getting almost $15, you know? So it was a lot better. With this pay cut, you're probably getting a little bit more than half of that. You know, so let's say you do 14 miles, you're gonna end up making about $7 or $8, you know. And if there was traffic, now they fixed it. So now that if there's traffic, you get a couple more bucks, you know, in between that. So it actually helps a lot to kind of raise that up a little bit to make it like it's more worth it to be able to do something like that, which I still prefer going far over doing the local stuff. And it mainly depends on where you live too. So like, I'm gonna tell you my new tactic of what I do with the deliveries. So like the very far ones I still take. So anything that says $5 or more, I'll end up grabbing those, because you know, with the new system, basically it shows you how much you're making and it shows you where the place is. So the way I gauge this is I think about where is this place going and what is the price. So for example, the area just seems kind of crappy and it's just very like, I don't know, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't want to be taking those $3 orders in those areas, especially McDonald's. You know, like, you got to think about really the restaurant that you're pulling from. So let's say, for example, you get a McDonald's order and it's $3, and that's the minimum price range of anything you're gonna get. The minimum is gonna be $3. You're most likely not gonna get a tip. All right, most likely you're not gonna get a tip, because you really have to think about, all right, this person is ordering from McDonald's because they probably are broke. Okay, they probably don't have money. So if they're trying to save money by buying a little Big Mac, just one Big Mac, and that's it, no fries, no drink, no meal, obviously they're not gonna tip you. And if they do tip you for some reason, no matter how nice you are, no matter how courteous you are, they'll probably give you the very minimum, which would end up being like $1.20 or whatever like that. That's the minimum tip that I've ever seen. You really gotta kind of think about that. When you're, what I do is I only focus on getting $5 or more on my deliveries. So if I see a $3 order that's going from McDonald's, I decline it. Instant decline. And this basically just puts it back in the chain. I don't know how many people in the area are actually declining it. So I don't know if it actually makes it raise up for people. Like, I don't know if, like, because I'm thinking that maybe the process of that is that I decline it, it goes to somebody else, they decline it, it goes to somebody else, and maybe the price goes up a little bit, but I'm kind of not seeing that. So I'm thinking that Uber is just kind of throwing you the $3 order and hoping somebody takes it. And in most cases, somebody will, because there's always that one desperate person that really just wants any kind of money and they will take it, you know? So yeah, so there's that. So anyway, I always take the $5 orders or more. And whenever I see like a jackpot, which would be like $8, $10, you get something like that, that's like that's an instant take. I don't care where it's going, I'm gonna take it. And that's how I usually gauge it. And usually with those, you have a far better chance of getting a tip than the ones that are $3 very local. Because I remember something that one of my exes said, and there's a reason why she's an ex, is because of this. And pretty much what she said was she ordered something very local. Like, it was basically across the street from where she lived. She ordered a delivery. The guy came by. She gave him the money for the food and said, all right. Didn't give him a tip or anything. And I asked her, why didn't you tip her? Why didn't you tip this driver? And she said, why should I? He only came from across the street. And that's basically the mentality of a lot of people. They really think about that. That's why you really need to think about these $3 orders. $3 orders are most likely not going to tip you, especially if they're from like a bullshit little fast food like McDonald's or Wendy's or whatever like that. So keep that in mind. The reason why I take all of the high ticket ones is mainly because when you're taking a $5 or more order, you're most likely to end up getting a tip. And you still need to kind of gauge where it's going exactly. For example, there's a college nearby where I'm at right now. If I got a delivery that's going to the college, most likely I'm not going to get a tip. I already know this because a lot of these students don't have money. Like, a lot of them try to play broke because maybe they are broke. I don't know. But why the fuck are they ordering Uber? They're lazy. So that's pretty much where it's going. You have to really think about the mentality of the person that you're delivering to. Like, this is where you got to gauge it. In this time right now, I'm working an early shift, so this is basically before lunch. So during this time, I take any kind of delivery I get because I know it's not busy. But once it goes into lunch and once it goes into dinner, I'm only taking high ticket orders. So that's how I gauge it. Also, going back to the area, I know I'm kind of all over the place. Going back to the area where you're at, where you're located, where you're hanging out. If you're in an area where you feel like it's mostly like people with houses, it's mostly like suburban, or it's like almost seems like rich areas where you see a lot of like Range Rovers and BMWs parked in houses and stuff like that. These are the areas where you can take whatever delivery you want. Take the $3 orders because the $3 orders can land up getting you a nice tip. I've seen this plenty of times where I'll hang out in a more richer area and I'll get a McDonald's order. It'll go to a nice ass house with somebody with a BMW, which is kind of rare. Normally people that have money don't order from McDonald's, but I've had this happen recently. They ended up giving me a $5 tip from a $3 order, and that's great. That's really good. And for me, I consider a $5 tip amazing. But because most of the time you're getting $1 or $2 at the most, like that's usual tips. So you got to keep that in mind also, is what area you're hanging out in. So I mentioned in one of my other previous videos about doing multiple deliveries and how it's not worth it. But Uber actually changed their system with that, I believe, because I noticed that lately when I grab a delivery, let's say it's the $3 order, sometimes if you wait a little bit and you see something else pop in and you take the second delivery, you can actually make a pretty good amount depending on where it's going to. So even if it was very close to each other, you would still end up making an extra couple bucks at least. So it's still worth it to kind of get that extra little, hit of extra little money there. Something that I like to do with the $3 orders, if I'm absolutely desperate, or if I'm in a good area, which I'm in a good area right now, I'll accept a $3 order and I'll just chill in the parking lot a little bit. I'm not gonna rush straight to the restaurant. The only thing that is really good with sitting in front of the restaurant is I noticed that since Uber actually pays for wait time, you can probably gain like an extra $1 just by chilling in the parking lot. Just a little tip. But the cool thing with chilling for a little bit instead of rushing right in is that there can be an opportunity for an extra delivery to pop up, so a second one. So definitely keep that in mind. Another tip that I run into every once in a while, it's not very often, that I just wanted to let you guys know of, is whenever somebody messages you. This happened to me a couple days ago actually. Dude messaged me and said, hey, you're going to the wrong address. I'm sorry, my app, whatever excuse they come up with. I always think about like how especially when they call me and I talk to them, I listen to their attitude and I listen to like how they sound. If they sound legitimate to me, then I'll go ahead and I'll be nice and I'll go ahead and take the order. There's been a lot of times that people would call me or they will message me and they'll say, you're going to the wrong address. It's supposed to be over here. Like they try to like play this whole like I'm stupid game. That's when I call Uber and I tell them to cancel it. And I tell them that they gave me the wrong address and I don't want to go take it. You know, that's basically how you have to gauge those things. But anyway, going back to the story, dude calls me up. It was a $4 order that was supposed to be like not very far at all, like right down the block pretty much. He calls me up and he says, hey, this is I'm sorry, but this is the wrong address. I tried updating my app and you know I was having a hard time, and I'm like, okay, I mean, what's your address? Just text me it. And he goes, okay. He texted me it. It was pretty fucking far, and it was basically, it should have been at least a $7 order from how far he was. So basically, in this situation, you're basically doing it from the kindness of your heart, like literally. So so basically with this whole delivery, he told me on the phone, he said, hey, you know, I'm gonna tip you double, like, you know, if you could bring it out. I didn't even think about that, and honestly, I don't put any, I don't ever think about like whether or not they're gonna tip me or not. I really don't care if they're gonna tip me, and especially when they say it, it makes me think that they're really not gonna tip me. But that's just me being paranoid and whatever. But anyway, he ends up telling me that. I say, okay, text me. He texts me the address. It was pretty far, like I said. I ended up driving all the way over there. It took me probably about 20 minutes to get there. I dropped off the delivery. I didn't get to see him directly. It was a business and he was working, so I left it at the receptionist. I looked to see if I ever got a tip later in that day. He gave me a $2 tip, which the delivery never changed because Uber doesn't count when you actually change your address. So it's still assuming that you're going to the $4 area. You know, like it's gonna stay $4 period. It's not gonna scale up. And this is the problem with the Uber app, is that basically Uber is not paying you for that extra distance. So a lot of times, if it's really far, you're probably better off just calling Uber and canceling it and telling them that you can't make it. So basically, I got ripped off from this deal that I made with this guy. So this is what I'm telling you about. I mean, sometimes I give them the benefit of the doubt and I go, okay, you know, I'm feeling nice today, so I might as well just fucking help them. I don't know. Like sometimes I get that way and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do something nice. But a lot of times it never works out. So that's why you can't rely on the tips. This is something that you can't. Like, it doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter how courteous. It doesn't matter. Like, a lot of people don't tip, period. And especially when you see they got an attitude when they're taking the bag from your hand, that's when you know you really are not gonna get a tip. So don't ever rely on it. This is why I'm basically telling you guys, don't take the $3 orders unless you're in an area where you know you're gonna make some money. So that's pretty much it. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Leave a comment below if you ever been through any of this stuff, or if you're just getting into Uber. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. And anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.